Wolf, which you're looking at right now. Just as a reminder, any opinions expressed by yours truly are strictly my own and do not reflect upon WLPcomics.com, Chris Overstreet, or anybody else involved. Let me just check in those things. You know, kind of just a few YouTube posts that I gotta check up. One watching right now. Looks like I'm the only one in the room. Yeah, I botched the works. And this is actually the layout of what the original page is. This panel area right here is actually a panel that is... This panel right here is actually... This panel right here is a replacement panel that goes where this panel goes on the... where the panel, this panel goes on the page that'll be going up tonight, page 335. Because I misread a bit of the script, so I drew a panel up here actually to go down here on the previous page, and then now everything else got shuffled around. This panel is actually over here. This panel is actually over here. This panel actually means to go over here. This panel, you can see what a screw up I do, goes actually down here, and then this panel got added to fill up the space. I'm trying to... Exactly how big do I need to make this page? I had a really nasty stuffed up nose earlier today, and I'm trying to see if a little hard cider cures that, instead of me having to take some more antihistamine pills and nerve spray. But really what I try to do is just try to clear up my stuffed up nose by taking a Q-tip and doing the old human blockhead with it. And I really do need to do that more, so I don't sneeze, so I can hopefully, you know, maybe go to Youmacon this year with some nails and a few hammers and just see what happens. Nails and a hammer. If I had a hammer, I would hammer a nail into my nose for the entertainment of others, because I'm a freak. Mm-hmm. And start paring away at this page as we edit together something suitable to work with. As you can see, it's a continuation of this little bit of dialogue between the ever heavy-handed Gene Goodwin's seductions of our innocent young lycanthropic ingenue, when Sarah Hazen Spin that a bit. Make a new layer, stroke. Deselect, inverse, select, inverse, delete, no. There's also that little bit of hair that I want to preserve. I always like to bump outside the borders just to keep things a little bit interesting, just a little bit irregular. All the weirdos in the world are here right now in New York City. Let's see what we got here is, yeah, see all that blue. Blue has to go. It'll be just an ugly gray smudges by the time we go to black and white. And keep on zooming, keep on zooming, keep on zooming, my dear. Make invisible, visible, make invisible, and then we'll merge visible. Take this panel, nudge it up. There we go. Take it, that layer, adjust the brightness, down, oh damn it, what'd I do? There we go. Clear, see, I merged it all the way down to the background layer, and I noticed that pretty quickly once I adjusted brightness. Let's see, adjustments, now we'll adjust, oh. Cancel. We'll just eyeball that for now. Image, adjustments, brightness, contrast on this layer, and down 100% so we get down to the true black. nudge layer 7, and I want to nudge layer 4 vertically a bit. Just get a little more of those lilies in there. Symbolism. Another thing the script did not call for specifically. In her reaction shots and her little blue screen of death ish actions was clear that out. Yikes, clear that out. Let's not have that zoomed in on. We're going to go on YouTube eventually with this. File. Save. No, not saving yet. What am I trying to do? The French are no well known for their webcomics, but we, Californian webcomic. Hi, Lily Willardy. No problem. I'm trying to do this to just, entertaining. Thanks for the viz. No, you're welcome. Alright, Kato. Melor. You know what, let me mention, I just had yesterday at work was kind of funny, kind of weird. I had a coworker say something very, unintended. We got a new guy working part-time, and this guy was, working valet yesterday with another person, a woman in training. And the woman that was doing our cashier reliefs that day came up to relieve the valet parking cashiers, and she and the other woman started talking. The woman who was doing relief is, half black, and the so was the other woman that she was relieving was a black woman too, and they started talking about going to the Michigan Renaissance Festival. And this new guy, who's this little young guy, well, he's younger than me, and he's not really that much. He's 32, I'm 37, and he's this. But I still really think of him almost as a kid because he's pretty damn skinny, like sunken chest, bent over weird a bit. Never stands up straight, it seems. And he mentions, well, you're not the sort of people that go to the Renaissance Festival, which is just immediately trotting into a verbal minefield. So they come back with, well, who do you think goes, what kind of people do you mean? And he's backtracking from the obvious, possible racial perception here, and he tries to defend himself by then saying, well, freaks and geeks, which I'm guessing to assume, as the woman who was doing relief carried this story to me, meant, people like me. But that's possibly the most wrong perception of Rennies possible, particularly for the Detroit area. And he got his surprise of the day, which was, yes, in the Detroit area, yes, minorities, minority populations do also like engaging in nerdy habits, like to go to the Michigan Renaissance Festival and other such, and B, the Renaissance festival is huge with women. All Renaissance festivals are. I mean, shit, it's mostly shopping. It's shopping for clothing that you can't get at any store, handcrafted decorations and knickknacks, and artisan soaps and the like. Of course, that's going to be women doing this. Big into that. So it's kind of funny just to witness this young guy or younger guy stick his foot just so squarely into his own damn mouth on the subject. And admittedly, a subject that really doesn't, matter in any way, shape, or form. It's a form of recreation. But and then of course beyond then there's the shopping, right? And women get to dress up in these, in these fancy, flouncy clothes for this thing, and then you also add to the fact of how would this not be this little slice of fictionalized history, often very loosely played with history? How would that not appeal to women when you look at the covers of a lot of romance cover novels? And gee, is it just a bunch of office worker guys with Coke bottle glasses and stuff on the cover of everything? No, a lot of well, there are in those subgenres, but a lot of romance novels are straight up, Renaissance festival, kind of historical epics, knights and ladies and stuff. It's always very funny and very interesting to find all the separate subgenres of romance fiction because there's so many. Because there are just so damn many. Let's nudge these layers over. I gotta merge them a bit. So yeah, long story short, this kid was surprised that the fact that I work with a bunch of little old ladies from all ethnic groups that dig going to the Renaissance, that will talk about during the fall about running out to the Renaissance Festival. And contrast adjustment, and then I'll check to see if anybody said anything. Okay. The Mellow are bad guys, and the Fringe were the RPG. Yep. I just use it like using them as a greeting. Yeah, Kato, I know. In one of the updates to the Fringe War the RPG, I actually did a few pencil drawings for updates kind of to the Melor, which are kind of a cool monster. Once I went to Kato, the one time I went to the Red Fest, I was dressed in Roman Legionnaire gear. It's completely appropriate for the Red Fest. Lily Willardy replied, "Dressing for the Red Fair is expensive, so kudos for dressing up fully." And Kato at the time was in the SCA, so yeah, that's always expected for that. Yeah, I think the one of the few times I dressed up, I mean, I occasionally just dressed up in like random like Jacobite shirts and some trousers or and whatnot, just in a leather hat, but all just very random. I think one time I went, it was one. I think there's a photo of me floating around somewhere in the photo albums of my family of me having gone to the Renaissance Festival dressed in a little Robin Hood costume, tights and all. I was a little boy. I've been a big fan of those kind of things for the longest time. And you'll notice that the last vestiges of the hippies are the Rennies, really. That's kind of who started doing those things, and that's kind of mentality of a lot of the people that keep those alive. It's like the last hippies, that's where you'll find them. They're Rennies now. Although they're also the ones that you can actually stand to be around because they're also all running their own small businesses of, making like Cthulhu scented soaps or and what have you. It's so it's free love and fairy dust, but they're also here to make a buck. Admittedly, it's the one gang that always gets to me nowadays is the sword vendors. And admittedly, this is a guy who I forgot. I got to re-edit back in a rant from Jean as she's yelling at Lee in their first encounter about her making the assumption that only virgins buy swords or own sword. It's just something with a guy who hasn't gotten any, that needs to go around swinging around a long, hard, potent object to compensate. And because you go to enough conventions, that have that almost traditionally have sword vendors. You only lose sword vendors at conventions and Renaissance festivals when you have first have some egregious incidents happening on the convention floor or in the hotel. Of course, given that you only have to be 18 to buy a bladed weapon in this country, often you do have a lot of stupid incidents at conventions. Literally like the South Park episode, Fun with Weapons. In fact, and I really came to this conclusion of like, yeah, only virgins, would be interested in swords and stuff because it was back actually when I was once I started holding that idea, if I ever started like looking at swords at the sword vendors and stuff, saying, yeah, those are really cool, those are looking, that's my signal. Like, wow, I really haven't gotten laid in a while. I need to get out more. I was there when I was a young man, and I've still got the metallic remains of that era. I need to go chat up some birds just for my own sanity. Mm-hmm. in regards to the Kato's service in the SCA, the other fighters hated your scutum. Well, I can understand a lot of other men would really not like to see your scutum. I mean, really, you should. That's what a codpiece was for, to keep people in that era from seeing your scutum just flopping about. Of course, you'd cover yourself up with a scutum. You cover up your scutum with a codpiece, but then you'd go and imply the size of it by wearing pointy shoes. Ah, the fashions of yesteryear. And I'd heard off of Peter V. Brett's Facebook. He's an author, the author of the Demon Wars cycle of fantasy novels, and he's got a daughter who's very big into the DC superheroes, and he'll make her Wonder Woman and Hawk Girl costumes. It's all very cute. But he was pointing to an IO9 story about Target is carrying a bunch of DC superhero stuff, and while the Justice League is represented on the boys' side, there's no, I don't know, it was some underoos or costumes or something for kids. There's nothing for Wonder Woman. And I guess IO9 was, of course, offended by this, and of course it hits personally for Mr. Brett, because his daughter is a big fan of this. But I'm also thinking, well, not every little girl, and there's limited shelf space even in a box store like Target's, and how much of this was we're going to ignore this iconic character because she's the girl superhero, or is it, well, we've got only so much shelf space, and most little girls aren't really testing with Wonder Woman. They don't, either don't recognize her very well, or they don't, identify with her, or they don't want to, be dressed up as her. Meanwhile, Monster High is all over the damn place. If you look at, any of the big box store costumes, most of the girls' costumes right now are going to be, most little girls' costumes are going to be Disney princesses, or even more popular than the Disney princesses are going to be Monster High. And the Monster High girls are more popular because they're high schoolers. And that's really what little girls want to be. What little girls want to be is an older girl who's obviously more cooler, and certainly not a big dork like her mom, and not even a bigger dork like her daddy. So I think the concern that IO9 has is not might be easily hand waved by just the logics, just the practicality of not only the market but being a market of Target literally being a storefront. So with limited space to devote to everything, and if you're gonna have this one DC piece kind of out in the middle of nowhere, it might get lonely, and it might get just as likely get overlooked when you've got the entire brand set aside area that you can work with. That said, I do think there. That said, I think glance at a unlicensed clown girl outfit that was specifically a knockoff, an unlicensed Harley Quinn kind of goth girl skirt, but it was in that red and black. And the funny thing is, I bet you'd have because of the popularity of Batman. I bet you with if you did market testing, market research would probably show Harley Quinn of all people testing more. Harley Quinn and maybe Batgirl testing more highly than somebody like Wonder Woman and Hawkgirl. And then again, of course, we also often find characters like Batman. A lot of kids like Batman more than like Superman. Some kids will like Superman, but even when they start getting into the arguments, Batman is, of course, the cooler one. And then it carries on to the adulthood where we like, yeah, you get your flying bricks from DC, who are always a little too godlike. But the more popular with the adult fans tend to be the more grounded heroes, right? Now we got the Green Arrow series that's doing very well from DC. We've got. So I think it'll all even out towards the end. Not sure what that was. So you can see where the previous page was. I've got to correct this. Boom, 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 boom. But yeah, that's my personal theory. I don't have the time. I haven't researched that. In fact, I really don't. I don't really click on link bait articles, and I don't really do IO9 much. I especially now issue Kotaku, and well, really, I think that's owned by Gawker Media. Anytime somebody sends me a link, oh, look from this Kotaku article or this, BuzzFeed article, I'm like, how about you just go one link up? And just hand me the original YouTube leak. That I'll click, and I'll give them the penny for the ad. Why does everybody just not have a problem with E-Bombs World when it's a blog site that isn't specifically E-Bombs World, but it's doing the exact same fucking thing? Your half paragraph worth of commentary is not a real fucking article. know I'm sounding so snooty, aren't I? Just sounding typical nerd. But, oh, really, this is my nerd rage kind of moment here. Just these are some of the articles that I've been kind of going over that have kind of, I don't know, roused my ire or piqued my curiosity or some such. Mainly because we got people just overreacting to shit on for political purposes, because of political purposes, which is the silliest damn thing to try and drag into fandom, in my opinion, is trying to co-opt any portion of fandom and make it into something political or make it something that is not what you know, what is escapist entertainment and turn it into something that is supposed to be, oh, I mean, we should form a community organization group. There's a group called Dumbledore's Army, I think, or something like that, which is a bunch of people trying to co-opt fans of Harry Potter into being. It doesn't matter how admirable any of the shit they want to do is for quote unquote the community, as whatever they view that they're, or whatever they think they're doing a community. The fact that they want people who enjoy Harry Potter to use Harry Potter to do something other than just enjoying fucking Harry Potter. Hey, maybe somebody just wants to read the books or watch the movies and be done with it, and get on with their life. Maybe they would like to talk about, these things at convention, but here you are trying to hijack them into a volunteer group, which is always which people's time is often worth a lot more than that. I always react badly to volunteerism. Because what? Because they're Harry Potter fans, they should do a book drive or some shit? Or what? Come on, man. Just let them enjoy wearing a red and yellow scarf. Why is that suddenly too much to ask out of the world? Transform. Scale just unveil. No, not that. This. Zoom out. What do you gotta do to this? I don't know. What I need to do is not start with that, but instead come here. We'll make a new layer for this panel border. yeah, like I said, this panel was actually a panel off of what the page that's going up tonight, which was actually supposed to be this page on this panel on this page. So yeah, I screw up a lot. And here I thought I was like, oh, I'm getting ahead of I'm not getting ahead of the curve and actually get them stuff done. And it's like, no, you botched it. You gotta restart from scratch. Yay, you moron. But I did get the replacement panel done for, and then but there's little things I was unhappy with on this page. So I ended up having to go to Palladium Books today and do some more drawing. Meanwhile, stopping at Michael's and picking up, some Canson paper, fanboy paper, to do more drawing on, which is, by the way, Canson art pads at Michael's this week are on sale, although by the time I post this to somewhere else, yeah, this will be no longer valid. Stroke. Boom. I got those panel borders. I'll remove this part of the panel borders. No, wrong panel. To delete from. There we go. We're going to take that, delete out that panel border, and that part of the panel border too. Oh. There we go. Move that little bit of drawing, a little bit of scrap of cloth flying towards Sarah. Over there, and you can see I've obviously got to work on the lines of this part of the page. Yeah, but otherwise it's come together quite admirably. And I can merge all this together. Page, save as. Delete. Right here. Image. Adjustments, brightness, contrast. Of course, silly me, I've gotten this too. This mysteriously disembodied hand. Because sometimes I just screw up what I'm trying to do with There you are. But I wonder if the reason why superheroes versus, I mean, because you're not, it's not marketers telling children this is what they want when they sell them these things. It is focus groups saying, okay, how do you react to this? How does the kid, how do the kids, what do the kids want to play with? If we ask them what do they want to play with, if we, what are and also it comes to also a lot of the toys, what packaging are they going to react to? And then also you have a lot of things, um, also there's a big thing, and also the people who go into the engineering and the toy design, and they also start coming up. Well, okay, well, what are the toys that we would? What were the toys that we wanted to play with when we were kids? And this is kind of also what you see in video gaming too. Why are there so many action and shooting games, and going into independent games of throwback platformers that are just like really super polished and well controlling versions of classic games, or homages to those classic games. Yes, because you got a bunch of people and toys, because you got people growing up to be toy designers and toy engineers saying, well, what would have liked to have played with when I was a kid too. There's that factor too. I was looking at one of the commercials for one of the Monster High play sets that actually involves playing, having little girls play, and the two toy designers that are teaching you how to, and the YouTube video, how to play with a toy, are both men with beards. And here they are playing with this Frankie Stein doll and putting her into this, regeneration, electrical chamber, because she's a Frankenstein's monster girl. And they've got goggles and lab coats like mad scientists themselves, and they're showing, and the point of the toy is it's the classic static electricity toy. Frankie's hair is going to stand on end, and so might a little girl who's playing with it, and that's always kind of one of those fun things. If you go to this Cranbrook Science, I remember like a the Cranbrook Institute of Science, which was always a popular place to go to when you were a kid, and there's a lot of field trips out that way, and other places where the scientists would try to get kids interested in the sciences by having those fun experiments of running electricity through you, and having light, and having your hair stand on end, and you can zap your friends with, and teaching you how to zap your friends and stuff like that. So even there's kind of a cool little educational value to these girls, the girls of Monster High, even though they are primarily a fashion doll, a really cool ball-jointed doll fashion doll too. They kind of reintroduced that, and they're all weird and different monster types. But if you look at aspiration through toys, and if boys are like picking action and war toys and superheroes and the like, and and the things that even right into young men they want to pick up is like sports and pro wrestler action figures and whatnot. It seems like what young boys and boys are in general in play attracted to most directly is They're aspirations of things like power and authority and the burden of and oddly enough the burden of responsibility. You know, a lot of kids' favorite superhero is Spider-Man, but no matter how cool and tough he is, they still got to remember that mantra of his dead Uncle Ben. Why Spider-Man does this is because he was taught with great power comes great responsibility, and a lot of young boys want to be responsible for something. Good. They want to feel that sense of accomplishment. The worst thing of, which is why I think participation trophies are so devastating for children too, is because you're feigning accomplishment to the child who kind of knows at face value he hasn't warranted a ribbon. Knows in their heart that they didn't and wants to. Now, if you look at when, and it's so kind of funny that social engineers will try to take the dolls out of try to make them have the boys play with the dolls and try to have the girls play with the action toys or something, or the trucks, or not play with anything at all, really, because but the style of play will often go back to the innate play style. And if you look at what the girls' toys kind of sell, at least I'm wandering through a the toy section randomly today, and thinking while I'm also looking at all the Halloween stuff, is the aspirations are self-expression and interactivity and friendship, and that a lot of toys that the girls that responded to, and this is why there's that girls section, tend to be, and that's when you have when the kids have, I mean, look at the My Little Pony popularity, look at the Monster High popularity, Ever After High and stuff. Barbie might be going down, but it's not because of feminist literature that's making her less popular. It's because Barbie really never had that many friends. She always outshone her friends, as opposed to being, one of the gang of friends. That every girl can select who chooses who they express themselves through. Are you Gulia Yelps? Are you Cleo Denial? And every girl is kind of like a bit different. Are you the werewolf girl, Claudia, or one of her many brothers and sisters too? That's kind of funny that there's like a 4-pack of BJDs. And it's a family photo. So I just saw this, and it was like, there's her brother, 2 of her sisters, and in the cartoons that they advertise these toys through, it's not about saving it. There may be some kind of like quest to save the world, but often the quests or the things they have to overcome are the person versus self, the more personal, and the more looking out for a friend is kind of the message behind it all. So yeah, it's a much more small scale, intimate there's an actual intimacy in girls' toys that isn't present in boys' toys, but also that reflects almost innate personality types, the generalities of that. Somebody's blowing up my... Hey, how's that for a ramble? We're at 10 a.m. Oh, yeah. Oh. Give me a second, press. Okay. Oh, yeah, Iron Man was, as a... Tanner prefers Iron Man, and as a hero, Iron Man is... it's kind of funny that, you know, that's the, you know... Well, almost every... It's kind of funny, almost every single Marvel movie has broken a record set by the previous Marvel movies. And maybe I'm just pointing out the girls' toys because I find that reaction to any girls' toys like the Bratz dolls that were, you know, of 10 years ago, which are now also trying their own Monster Girl line of glow-in-the-dark ball-jointed dolls. Girls' toys will often be far more politicized. The reaction to girls' toys will be far more politicized than the reaction to boys' toys. So you almost can't help but notice what girls are playing with more than boys, and then you have the weird moment of, you know, the bronies, the emergence of the brony, which, you know, both me and Chris to a degree are, and we service the brony community through our art and products too. Fan products too, but and people were like, well, what the hell is this? And there was a huge reaction to that politically, and there still kind of is. Just, I mean, even more so than the emergence of the furry fandom, the brony fandom of the idea of adult men who are into this, you know, little girls, you know, this was supposed to be a little girls cartoon, but then but it's part of it was, oh yeah, you just have these people who are big into animation, and oh yeah, this person that we all loved, the show that was kind of boy centered, you know, that this Lauren Faust did, so let's, you know, watch her new show, even if it is, but and hey, she's the same quality writer. And I just joke that, you know, okay, well, maybe we just all need a vacation from the police procedurals. You know, you're going to make fun of the brony for watching a cartoon about little girl, you know, teenage girl ponies being friends when, oh, what should a guy be, when the show that his demographic is supposed to be watching is yet another police procedural that begins every episode with a dead hooker in a frickin', you know, dumpster. Excuse me, but, you know, maybe we need to take a break from the continuous murder shows. Or maybe it was just a reaction. This is all a reaction to a generation almost solely raised by single mothers, which there's been a lot of. Which is kind of funny because there's a generation that has been almost solely taken over by that was solely raised by single mothers or mothers who divorced their fathers and kept the kids. How big of a divorce rate was there for the generation that raised Generation Y? And now this Generation Y, this Generation Y young men is being continuously told to man up and be a real man. Why aren't you more manly? And it's like, well, where were the men to raise these kids? And then it gets even funnier when you have the modern spinster. We're not using that word, but we really should. When what is it, Lauren Martin on Elite Daily has released in the last couple of months 2 articles trying to blame men for the reason why she can't find a date in the city. Why aren't men asking me out anymore? Why aren't men, buying me drinks? Why are men, they'll make eye contact with a girl, then never ask her out, ask for her phone number, or they'll ask her phone number and then never ask her out and stuff. And then she goes on to the blame, saying that men need to man up and it's men's problem and it's men's to blame that, she's thirsty and lonely, which is hilarious. Because, honey, this is the crop that feminism has sown. That this is what, conventions are full of creeps. This is what creep shaming does. Anytime you don't particularly like a guy, that you're going to cry harassment, that you're going to try to get people thrown out. There's the risk-reward economics of even approaching a woman. And of course, these women are supposed to be independent enough to actually approach men, aren't they? That they're interested in, aren't they? Aren't they supposed to be grown up, independent? But the economics of approaching women doesn't fucking. But there's too much risk, not enough reward to actually bother acknowledging the existence of women, even in the bar scene in this day and age. So you've got this generation of cat women. I guess the latest survey results that she quoted in her article was that somebody was quoting in the reaction of the article was only a quarter of Generation Y has married. The rest are single. And an even funnier one was that, when she quotes these statistics, these surveys that say that, women are matured like 10 years faster than men. And, men are just these man baby boys that aren't grown up yet. And, she's going to be 40 before a guy her age is ready to settle down or settle for her. But the thing is, these surveys were based around questions where it's, do you feel more mature than the men around you? And of course, people or somebody around you, and of course, people are going to say, "Yeah, I'm the mature one." Most people who are answering this survey are going to, women are going to say, "Yeah." If it's based on your feelings of how mature you are, well, fuck. Most people of adult age are gonna say, yeah, they think they're mature. Especially if you're talking about yourself compared to the other. But then again, also men have been, continuously being shamed for being a man. I think we need a new term, princess-splaining. I think this speaks to that situation. Instead of saying check your privilege to a woman, you start by princess-splaining episode by saying, "Well, excuse me, princess." And then go into the generalities of how a person might be. She might be, in fact, a flawed human being with an overly inflated view of herself and her own self-worth. Which will always go over well at the bar. So I suppose, yeah, prepare to have a bunch of drinks thrown in your face, but we weren't talking about doing this for the species as a whole, you know. I've got a terrible voice, I think. I'm listening to myself, and man, I must sound irritating. See, I'm not one of those, you know, heavy. I've got a ponytail, but I'm not some heavy set. And I'm heavy set, and I've got a ponytail, but I don't have a British accent. And I think if I had that, that would change everything. I think, yes. Ponytailed, a British atheist would be much more. A British accent would make all this much more palatable. I really should try to work on a northern, you know, an up north accent. I won't even try for the Londoner. Then everyone will think I'm so wise because I'm speaking with a British accent. Even though I'm talking about what minges people are being. If you say you ought to Burke, Burke almost sounds like a compliment if you don't know what you gormless Burke, you. Zoom out. Here I am being in a home. Oh, we should go for the Welsh. No, go for the Welsh accent. I don't know what the Welsh accent is. I have to. Is that more like Shropshire? Something more like this, my love. Would you like me to talk like this? Oh yeah, hold on. How can you shut up with things to shade? Oh, actors. Hey bar, what's up? Says Robert Rogers. Not much. I'm just gonna finishing up an hour of. I think nobody understands me right now. Drawing Sarah and. I know Chris doesn't. I think me and Chris disagree now on so many different, you know, points. That's kind of why I say, like, oh, my opinions are my own and don't reflect on, because I'm pretty sure everybody disagrees with me, which is totally within their rights. Screw it. I'm gonna dive into. Give me a second. Oh, no, that's not. Mhm. Elite Daily by Lauren Martin. Why women need to start asking men out. ... Because men have no balls. Ladies, it's been said before, but I'll say it again. They just don't make them like they used to. Really, well, really, who stopped production on the traditional male? What was it the was it the religious right there, huh? That you've been rallying against for decades, huh? That was taking away your abilities to get it, your all important abortions and whatnot, and apologizing for rapists, even though nobody was ever doing that. No. That was. That's people that shut down production on the classic man. That this woman starts out her damned article about saying, oh, she misses. That was her. That was the left that shut down the production line, that shut down the factory that was producing those. There's no door holding, no hand holding, and definitely no free drinks. I do like her priorities are begin with men doing something for her, and end with men buying her booze, indulging a vice. There's no taking off hats or courting through invitations. Well, really, unless you go to a steampunk convention, there's plenty of stuff of that happening. That's the whole point of going to a steampunk convention, is to wear a bowler hat and doff it to the ladies. It's kind of funny that people pretending to be Victorian era and pretending to carry Victorian era ethics through their fandom. these horrible patriarchal right wing are the ones that are doing what she's whining has stopped. And also, isn't one of the insults of the left now? So go put on your you forgot your fedora when talking to gamers if they complain about anything, or talking to men about. Is the accusation against the MRA is that they're all fedora wearing neckbeards? So this is. There are no smooth moves, no jackets to dinner, there are no flowers, no tables by candlelight, but more importantly, there are no dates. Well, I mean, men wore jackets. This is the thing, men wore jackets to dinner. Men got dressed up to go out to something as simple as dinner when women got dressed up. If you've got, a dress that the front is down to the bust is down to your belly button and the damn hemline is up around your ass, of course the guys are going to dress to suit. We used to live in and I was like, I can't stress enough, we used to live in an age where the joke was a woman keeping her curlers in her hair when she went out of the house because she was in a rush. You could tell a woman was, oh my gosh, some emergency happened, because she'd actually gone out of the house without everything being perfect, to Now we can't get people to actually dress in daytime clothing instead of their pajamas when they go to Walmart. There's an entire website devoted to this. But this is a 30-something woman complaining that she can't get a date. If you're a single woman, you've probably envisioned your 20s as a roaring social scene full of expensive dinners and lavish nights out. You've dreamed of mooching off of guys. You've come a long way, baby. You probably thought you'd have a boyfriend, or at least a few dates a week. You probably thought you'd meet a guy at a bar and he'd ask for your number. You probably thought you'd be on your way to dinner next week. After too many nights spent in bars and one too many phone numbers given out, you've probably realized the sad truth of the situation. You're not going on any dates or being courted in any type of manner because, unfortunately, men these days are cowards. Oh, really? How about when every incoming freshman to college is given is sat in front of a video of telling them, like, oh, ladies, you're going to be raped. And then, of course, the boys are sat down and saying, well, you might... Every guy is being told, like, oh, you might be a rapist and not even know it because you're a horrible rapist. Don't most of these lavish dinners that she's complaining about also involve drinking at dinner? But also now every campus is such lowered standards for what the definition of rape is that a woman who has had a couple of drinks, it doesn't have to be, oh, she was slipped a drug. Oh no, if she just had a couple of drinks, if she's suddenly feeling gregarious because she's had a glass of wine or two, that's enough to say she didn't have complete control of herself and complete consent, so she was violated, and if it takes her a month to figure that out, well, then so be it. You're still going to get thrown off of campus, your campus career is going to be scuttled. This is why you're also coming out with articles talking about, oh no, guys aren't interested in dating girls during college. Yeah, because it's a fucking minefield. There's no guarantee of safety for men. The risk isn't anywhere near worth the rewards. The dubious rewards of feminine company. This is why, this is a person who cannot figure out how the culture that she's fully a member of and fully endorses is the reason for MGTOW. This is the reason for college men going full Henry Higgins and just becoming a bachelor for the rest of their life. To be fair here, not all men, but a lot of them. They'll might make eye contact with you in the bar, but never come over. They'll get your number, but never call. They'll offer to buy you a drink, but never pay. So she's actually somehow upset that she just had to pay her own bill. This kind of exactly points to one of the main problems. When part of this complaint is men aren't manly enough to foot my bill. Oh, she's so strong. She's so independent. She is just living that Sex in the City lifestyle, isn't she? It's just so strong. Oh, God. They'll say a girl is hot, but never hit on her. They'll text you for a week, but never ask you out. They'll do absolutely everything but make a move. Yeah, because the move, it used to be you get rejected, and you just go back to the, go to the next gal in the bar and hit on her then. But now it's, you might find yourself slapped. But now when we have women, screaming at men in public and videotaping them and handing them business cards that say, "Oh, you're a harasser, stop street harassment and everything." Well, of course, that's what killed us. We don't want to be yelled at. It's so much easier to just look and then ignore. I've watched men pine over women, talking about them like future wives, yet after staring at them for 2 hours, let them walk away. Well, of course, because a future wife also might become a 50-50 chance of becoming a future ex-wife. And that future ex-wife takes the house, the car, the kids. You're on a couch, if not home, you're on a friend's couch if you've got a friend in the city that you've moved to. So yeah, even the fantasy of a future wife, this could be the one. Well, yeah, this could be also the one that rips out my heart through my wallet. And I've got way too, and I've got way too many friends that this has happened to. I've got way too many, coworkers. That this has happened to. I mean, that's the joy of working at a place where such a lowly day job at an airport is. I'm working with all sorts through all classes and all education levels and all life experiences, man. And man, it got it rough. We got it rough. Every generation learns specific lessons from the rest. And when the lesson became, one stumble with a girl and your life is ruined, well, yeah, it's not cowardice, it's just risk assessment and situational awareness. And this is also why, and this is also why I react so badly now to when these young little girls, when these little girls in the twinkling 20s and these teeny boppers and these college age cuties start going on about their convention. Oh, we got to stop con creeping. These guys are creepy at conventions. Yeah, they're socially awkward. And really, the guy that she's sounding like here, how is that, kind of like, idealizing a girl for a couple hours in fantasy and then not even approaching her? Well, how is that not, from somebody else's angle? If you look at this dude, oh, he's a con creeper, every convention creeper is the guy that this woman is complaining about not having the guts to approach a girl. All it takes is a shift in perspective on these people. The whole situation is kind of sad and depressing, but so damned funny in its own narcissistic way. I've watched men chase women down for their phone numbers, yet wait a week to text them, acting like it's something they simply forgot about. Probably because they did, given that so many people are just so inured with social media and the casuality of actually contacting people. And of course, nobody wants to text somebody until they got the idea of a perfect opening line of a text. I think that's almost why people text nowadays more than phone calls, because nobody wants to no guy actually wants to call a girl and then run out of things to say. We're not very talkative to begin with. Of course, I can't understand why we don't segue that into looking for cards. We really need to get back on the ball with that kind of thing. Just let some professional say it for us with a picture of a hot air balloon or some shit too. Other than that, say nothing. there'll be a time and a place mentioned inside the car next to the poem, and if it happens, it happens, and otherwise, just go to the movie yourself. Screw it. It's always going to be a stupid blockbuster anyways, and there's just just text. Twitter is great. It's hard to screw up stating your feelings if you're only going to limit it to 140 characters. There's not enough feet to actually to have two stumbling over your two left feet verbally. I've watched men spend an entire night talking to a girl, yet never get up the nerve to ask for her number. Well, maybe that girl just really wasn't the one. You know, oh, this is a good, you can have an interesting conversation with a person and not desire to spend the rest of your damn life with them. Hey, some human beings you only can deal with in a couple hours segment of a time. I've learned that about me. The little bit of me goes a long damn way. And I've had friends who are even more so to that. I've had a couple of friends where I'm like, well, we've had this conversation 3 times before, buddy. You're going to have to get out of the house and get some more experiences down. And even me, I'm like, this is why I go out to the haunted houses, man. I mentioned in one of my previous live streams, I went rambling on for a while about the 2 haunted houses just Saturday I visited because, well, shit, I need something new to talk about. I gotta bank conversations. That's what going out and experiencing life is. It's banking future conversations. It's material for your next comedy show. You gotta build up to some kind of joke, observation about the human condition. Hopefully there's a point to hopefully there's a moral to the movie of your life. Even if it is just don't run a dogfighting ring. We're dealing with a new breed of men here, and it's not the kind we grew up dreaming about. It's the want what I want, but I don't know how to get it type. It's the sweet and cuddly mama's boys who grew up terrified of making the first move. It's the guys who have so much to say but don't know how to say it. Huh. Wonder what caused this problem, And when the problem is you're calling them mama's boys, and we have a generation that was raised almost exclusively by single mothers, by divorced mothers, where the father was not even allowed access to their children, and now we have this screwed up problem. You are complaining about the results, yet this somehow says nothing. Where were these young boys supposed to learn to pick up women? Okay, this is why the point of her thing is, oh, girls, you're gonna have to get thirsty and make that first move, because these guys, they're used to being just told what to do. They're so used to being domineered that they can't, even if they find you attractive, they completely incapable of making that first move. Because holy shit, we've been abused by a system our entire lives and told what, how rotten we are, to how awful and evil male aggression is. So you've got a bunch of shattered young men and how awful and evil male sexuality, the male end of the sexuality is, and how it's demeaning to women, and I get this because and I get this angle of the argument because I'm a pornographer. Holy shit! I'm so used to just the lengthy articles from every side of the political spectrum, saying how I'm the problem, how I'm, abhorrent evil. I've just become a honey badger. I don't give a fuck, quite frankly. And I have no right to, express anything, really, because because Chris Overstreet wants to write a silly, dirty joke with a stupid, porny punchline, and thinks it's cool and awesome and sexy when a girl just is like a magically bursting out of her clothing. And I just have a weird thing for pirate girls. Okay. And occasionally clowns. Okay, I will admit that. That is, even I'm a little bit weirded out by the clown girls. I blame Paul Dini for that. I wouldn't even have that if it wasn't for Harley Quinn, and I think many men can say that. It's a little weird. It's a little girl at spandex with a mallet, and that's a little awkward. It's probably better not to you express that desire. Come over to the bedroom, dearie, and bring the pop gun and the whipped cream pie, and let's get freaky. That's not a clown nose you're honking, Now, the unfortunate paradox for a woman is that she must be she must be the chased and the chaser. She must be the target and the shooter. She must play coy and simultaneously pursue him. Well, not. Or you can just make it plain. You can not play games, because we need in this litigious society more than ever, we need clear signals. We need clear statements. Apparently, we're not supposed to even rely on body language or coyness. Remember, if it's not an emphatic yes at every point, it's no. That's the new mantra. The new counterproductive. And which, of course, for a generation of young men that was never taught how to flirt, never taught the social cues, and have been beaten down into mostly just looking at their own feet most of the time. Well, shit, no wonder we're in this situation. But, of course, the point here is to blame the men. Anyone notice a problem here? Yet again, women are left to do all the work. We're left playing both sides of the game because they've simply forgotten how to play. Well, no, we're told not to play. Oh, no, no, no. We're not. It started decades ago when you talked about how hypocritical it was for men to be able to play the field, for men to be encouraged to get laid and women not to be, and yeah, that got taken to heart, unfortunately for you. It's funny how much this is just, it's so much how much the complaints of modern women of the modern dating scene basically boils down to political correctness has backfired drastically into your face. And yet nobody wants to admit it. Nobody wants to, say, oh, it did. Yeah, maybe all this political correctness, maybe all this forcing everybody to walk on eggshells because men certainly don't want to get sued. And if you're the default shitlord status, there's no, what use is there? Maybe this is why Gamergate happened. This is why the reaction to, this is the reason maybe why for the fake geek girl commentary, because people, and why I personally react so badly to something like the Dumbledore Army volunteering group, even if they're just trying to be a charitable group. It's you're bringing politics into a place where we came to escape from all the politicking. Any convention I go to, I use my vacation days for, any convention I go to, that's my literal vacation. That's my paid vacation. This is what I'm doing for my vacation. So why the hell is it so many other people want to slap the margarita out of my goddamn hand and start telling me, hey, you're a horrible person unless you do X, Y, Z? Shit, man. I was just getting my Jimmy Buffett on. Why you gotta mess with me? And this has happened enough time that now the people who actually just want video games to be fun, want their conventions to be a place to relax, are reacting badly, or want to discuss things like atheism without having to tie onto a pointed knowledge or a lack of belief in a deity, but you want to add onto it a bunch of political beliefs with a religious fervor, atheism plus. And of course, she's saying they've forgotten how to play. Well, certainly the pickup artists haven't. But, there's a whole bunch of different articles complaining about the guys that are actually asking your phone number, getting it, humping you, and then dumping you, I'm so sorry that we mere all-knowing telepaths aren't able to fucking satisfy your every whim before you even know you've whimmed it. It stems from a number of factors, but most prominently the fact that men don't know what the hell they want from us. They want the virgin and the whore. They want the slut and the good girl. They want the girl who's hard to get, but they don't know how to get her. We want a girl that won't throw us in jail or sue us or ditch us and take half of everything. And there's certainly no dress you're going to wear at the bar that will tell us that that's the girl that you're not. Well, I don't know, maybe a Velma outfit, but, you know, you never tell. Could be a fake Velma. Not that there should be a, you know, I don't think you really, in cosplay, you have to take on the ideals of... Because they don't know what they want, they end up chasing nothing. It's the dilemma of the overcrowded buffet. There are too many options, so they choose an empty plate. Or something they don't even like to begin with. Oh, she's so poor her. She's so lonely. No guy has... And here I am wanting, yeah, hypocrisy, but shit, man, there's... This very self-centered article of hers that's, oh, these guys, the problem must be the guys. The problem has to be. It couldn't possibly be... Women are never going to be the problem in an article like this. This leaves women making all the moves. We must tell them what they want if we're to get anywhere close to the goals we had for ourselves. Which is, of course, yes, once again, to get a guy to pay for your drinks. Such admirable, such as, you know, esteemed goals. To get expensive dinners. Holy shit. Yeah, you're going to have to do the work if you want to mine a man's labor potential for your own uses. Holy shit. Is this, you know, the disposable gender, ladies and gentlemen. The expendable gender, ladies and gentlemen. We must tell them what they want if they're to get anywhere closer. We must tell them what we want. Yeah, no. We must tell them what they want. Oh. Yeah, start making the decisions for us, ladies. Or what if it's that in the you know, when the guy didn't ask for a phone number at the end of that couple hours worth of conversation, what if it was just that at the end she just said something horrible or something that indicated that she was a horrible person at the core, and probably he's going to just extricate himself. Maybe she even said it 15 minutes into the conversation. He was desperately trying to figure out a way to end the conversation and get away from her until something else popped up, or right when she had it, and he had to go just right up. I could imagine being trapped in that hot conversation. I've seen that so many. I've kind of been there with both men and women in fandom. Really happens to us artists a lot more because we're usually trapped behind our goddamn table. I've seen other people in that situation too, and you always kind of giggle when it's somebody you giggle when it's happening to somebody else. And just the horrible conversation with the fan that might have spent $5 or hasn't spent it, probably has money but hasn't spent any money yet but you gotta just sit there and humor them because you don't want them to go away. God damn it. All decisions are economically based at the end. You want that money, you got to get dinner tonight. But it will never be as we fully imagined because in our dreams, men weren't timid or scared little boys. In our dreams, men are the ones with the balls to ask us out. Men are the men, you gotta man up. You gotta man up, and well, there are guys that are man up. Like I said, you know, Ray Rice mans up all the time. Some, but some lucky girl got him first, didn't she? Holy shit. No, you have to, you know, it's the contradictory messages that men get from women now, the modern woman, would be enough to destroy a supercomputer in the old Star Trek. Be more manly, be more sensitive, express your feelings, man up, grow some balls. Where have all the men gone? Hey, quit whining, MRAs, about your rights being taken away. They're scared of it. They'll never admit it, but you scare the hell out of them. Actually, yes, we will admit it. Men will freely admit, not specifically of women, but lawyers. We have become an increasingly litigious society. That's why it's so damn hard for anybody to try to take any risk in this modern day and age. That's why the creation of small businesses has gone down. Why? Lawyers. You can't add on to your house. Why? Government. You can, you know, EPA, more lawyers. And when that has become, and of course, you know, this woman isn't complaining about how hard any of this stuff is because it's not affecting her. She's not trying to, you know, own a house. She's not trying to start up a business. She's just a blogger. Here I'm fisking this article. I'm not even a goddamn hour in. I'm almost 10 minutes there. They never lied, but you scared the hell out of them. After years of social conditioning, they've been duped into thinking that men are the strong ones, that they are leaders, the protectors, the fighters, that they are the ones that see what they want and go after it. Well, TV lied to you. Men aren't those masculine displays of strength and perseverance. They aren't these persistent characters created by Nicholas Sparks and John Green. Who the fuck are they? They aren't going to catch your eye and spend all night convincing you why you should be with them. They aren't Noah Calhouns. They aren't Augustus Waters. And are shy, timid, and scared shitless of any woman with half a brain. Well, yes, because a woman with half a brain is an idiot. But an idiot who's clever enough to hire a fucking lawyer or cry outrage if it'll get her attention. Holy shit. Or if you happen to be not exactly what she wants, decry you publicly, go after you in outrageous ways, thanks to social media. A woman with half a brain is therefore, by definition, a half-wit, isn't she? And these people, and that is a person with likely little self-control. This is probably a woman that's never watched one Ratchet video because that would be too much like a mirror held up to her life. It said that the male ego is as fragile as a woman's heart, and unfortunately for women, men won't take the chance of letting it shatter. Well, also, you know, a man's heart is pretty fragile, too. I do like that she calls, you know, that she implies that men are therefore ego, you know, the egotist in this scene when the complaint is that she doesn't have that she and her girlfriends, her little Sex and the City clique, don't have guys fawning over them specifically or giving them exactly what they want in every goddamn situation. While women willingly put themselves out there, men stand back scared of the tiniest bruise or their overinflated self-image. No, they're scared of being hauled off the convention floor, being banned from the places that they love, being arrested and sent to jail. Here she calls men being children. Ball is one, he calls, basically saying that men have no balls, when really it's just, we don't want them crushed yet again. Now, there's a once burned, twice learned that a guy's a lot to go through. And in the modern age, when we've, kind of created a breed of harridan that is not worth it. I think the one conclusion that she will never come to is the key to her finally getting her marriage happily ever after that she's dreaming of will probably be dependent on bringing back the dowry. I think if let's screw the man having to buy a ring for a woman that's supposed to be 2-3 months now of his salary. Forget that bullshit. If men are the ones in demand by women, then clearly what is needed is an economic incentive for the woman to take this woman to wife, so she won't end up a spinster and she can have the babies that she wants at the age she wants, right? The supply and demand has shifted. And it's kind of funny that this woman is complaining about the utter unfairness of a pendulum swing. If women have made themselves attractive to look at, but unattractive to be around because of personal problems or personality problems, guess what? Then the 2D is becoming those 2D. Everybody has a cell phone, and we can have the memory of the image without having to suffer through all the other sensory battery that comes with. We must put ourselves out there and risk rejection. Oh, you poor dears. What is this, some kind of battle cry to actually do this? Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Wait, there's a word for that. Equality. That would be equal. That would be, oh goodness. Okay, so both people have to risk rejection. Well, then go ahead, risk it. Bam! We've hit. They got it from their mamas. Why are men like this? Well, for years they've been raised by their mamas. The women who told them that they were the best things got it. No, we're not told that we were the best things on God's green earth. We are often told that we are horrible. From an early age, every willful instinct in a boy is suppressed. We are given pills to make it sit down in class instead of given so much as a half hour to run around called recess. If we turn our fingers into a gun during play, we are hauled in front of principals because of no tolerance policies. Because it is assumed that the child that chews his frickin' Pop-Tart into a shape that vaguely resembles a pistol will therefore one day bring in a machine gun and kill every child at the school. For years, they've been given everything on a silver platter. We have been given nothing, but we have been running the risk of having everything taken away from us at any time for any reason by a legal system that does not favor us, that assumes guilt until innocence is proven, that the when the modern campus requirements given on accusations of sexual assault, sexual harassment, or rape are to throw the young man out of college first and drop charges when there's not, and ignore everything else after there's no charges filed later, well, this is why young men aren't taking the risk, aren't bothering with going to the bars and the clubs while they're in college like they used to. Shame on you for... Of course, some mothers have raised great men. This isn't to discredit the generation of mothers before us who raised a myriad of young men we're dealing with today. Of course, women will never be responsible for anything. Even though many a young man's life is dominated by his mother until age 10. Often this is, even in the olden times, a young boy in the nursery was pretty much the only influence on his life was his mother until about age 6, when they would actually have a breeching ceremony where he'd actually go from the easy to dispose of, change the nappies out of skirts to breeches, a breeching ceremony of the trousers that a man would wear. That it was an important thing that when a young boy was actually finally in pants, not only because it meant he was able to hold his bladder, which is always a good thing, but it was because he was finally going to get some male influence in his life. But for the select few who didn't teach him how to properly court a woman, well, shame on you. Shame on you for not teaching them how to properly approach a woman. Shame on you for giving them the idea that women must go to them. Shame on you for making them believe all they had to do was stand at the bar and wait for a girl to appear on their arm. Yeah, thanks. How dare you try to have them be the romance novel cover on the shelf. Let me save that. Let me see what the hell has been said. They're all a bunch of tsunderes, yeah. Yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm sorry to... Lily Willardy, the thing is, people who betray their spouses do it to everyone. It's the personality. And I'll agree with that, yes. That is deep cut right there, Lily Willardy. You've got the track. The people that were doing this kind of... that male or female... that is an individual's, you're dead on, male or female, that people like that, who people treat a spouse like that often treat everybody else like that. Hey, it's like going back to Henry Higgins. Did you, when he's asking Eliza Doolittle, did you ever see me treat anyone better than I treated you? And that was just, the way these people were. I'm going to cut this off at 2 hours plus, and I'm going to take an hour break, and actually I will be back at midnight, if that's okay with everybody, okay? So thanks for joining me. God, I've still got, I think, half this. Oh, there's another paragraph after this stupid, horrible article that I've been fisking. But I'll let you go.